Hello, welcome to day 28 on the CDT. So a few things. First, there's some static electricity in here, so my hair is kind of trying to get to the top of the tent there. So that's that. Second is we finished the road walk. So coming just as a reminder, I talked in yesterday's video, but coming out of Grants, Marty, Heavy D, and Mouse had come up with a route where we would road walk for 3 days, and then we'd get back on the CDT for 2 days, and this part of the CDT is not in the National Forest. So we're actually back on the CDT. It's right over there. And today was a long day. We had to walk to the water, so if I take out that mileage, I think it was about 25.5 miles today. It was a nice road walk, if you can have a nice road walk. It was a dirt road all day. So yesterday we had half of dirt road, and before that it was asphalt. So today was nothing but dirt. And when we got back to the CDT, we see that it's dirt single track. So hopefully that will be a little bit easier on our feet. And now that we've had 3 days of food taken out of our packs, hopefully our packs will be a little bit lighter. We do have a bit of a water shortage in this section, so I think that there's water right by us, and then after that, the next water is a water cache. The other sources are dry. There is one water trough that apparently has water in it, but the last update that someone's made at that water was 2 weeks ago, so we don't know if it actually is, if that water trough still has water, if it's dry. But we do know that several of the other wells and troughs are dry. So if the water cache, which is about 13 miles from here, doesn't have water, then essentially we have 29 miles to the next reliable water source. That water trough that was last updated like 2 weeks ago, maybe it has water. If it does, then it'll be 15 miles to water. So a little bit of a mystery, but we are approximately 45 miles outside of Cuba, New Mexico. So hopefully we'll have pretty reasonable days, like 22, 23 miles the next 2 days. And we'll get into town Friday afternoon. And then we can figure out the next step from Cuba to Chama, which I think is going to be a 3-day road walk again. And I think that road walk is actually going to be, it could potentially be 100% asphalt. So that's unfortunate. And that leads to, I think, what the biggest issue I'm having right now is my shoes don't fit. And I've mentioned this a couple times, like the asphalt road walk into Grants, I think it was like 28 miles, but it was a mix. Most of it was like trail or like dirt road, and then there was like 5 miles of asphalt. And then the walk into Grants was 27 miles, and 100% of that was asphalt. And I got a blister on the bottom of my, it was my right foot, which my right foot had actually been pretty solid most of the way. And that was one of the first indications that something was amiss. And I kind of investigated my shoes a bit, and I think I investigated them a little bit before Grants, but they're too small. My feet grew faster on this trail than the PCT, and by grew, I think I explained in a previous video, just your arch flattens because you're walking so many miles. So thankfully I have a pair of shoes coming into Cuba, and they're a half size larger than the shoes I'm wearing now. The problem is my feet are turning into hamburger really quickly. So even though today's road walk was dirt, it was still 26, like with the walking over to the water, it was probably a little over 26 miles today. And let's just call it 26.5. And I think I may have 1 or 2 new blisters. I did not mention in yesterday's video, or maybe I did, I cannot remember, but during yesterday's road walk, not today's, I got a blister on the front of my left toe because my left toe is just constantly rubbing the front of my shoe. and I also got a heel blister. So today I may have gotten a new blister on the bottom of my left foot, and the bottom of my right foot may have a new blister, just in a different place than the one that that formed when I walked into Grants. So I have 2 days, 45 miles to walk to get into Cuba. Hopefully most of that trail is going to be single track, hopefully. We'll find out once we hike it. Single track dirt will definitely help kind of mitigate some issues. I'm also kind of hoping that we have a little bit more up than down, because I can walk up okay. The down is really killing me. I figured out a system to walk on flat ground, so I'm not concerned as much with that, but the down is where I really run into issues. So just to recap, Marty, Heavy D, and Mouse came up with a great alternative. Yes, it was a road walk, but a lot of it was on dirt, and it got us back to the CDT, and now we're back on the CDT to Cuba. I'll mitigate my feet as best as possible, and once we get into Cuba, I was telling Marty and Heavy D, like, I'm going to give my new shoes a big hug, because even though Pie Town was frustrating, I probably should have tried a little bit harder to connect to the gear shop and make sure that my shoes are in Grant instead of Cuba. So it's lack of preparation on my part, which is causing me to have feet issues 4 weeks into the hike, which normally doesn't happen, but it's happening in this case. So no reason to complain about it. I got to hike the miles. I got to get to Cuba. That's where the shoes are. And it's it's my own doing, just because I didn't try a little bit harder in Pie Town. So today's shout out actually is to properly fitting shoes. I did not realize how important they were until you tried rocking 21, then 23, and then 26 miles in ill-fitting shoes, and you quickly realize how important it is to have some space before your toes and the front of the shoe, and have a little bit of room in your heel, and have proper arch supports or insoles or whatever it is. So I know I've been talking about shoes for a long while in many of these videos, but it's going to be coming to a head, I think, in Cuba. So I hope you all enjoyed the alfalfa video, and a shout out to shoes. But we are back on the CDT. I'm sure some of you that are receiving like the spot check-ins that I send, it's just, my family. But I'm sure when you plugged in those coordinates, you probably were like, oh, this can't be right. It's the side of the road, but it was correct. We slept on the side of the road for a couple nights. So I can't wait to play the game Have You Ever, and the question, have you slept beside the road, come up, because the answer is yes. Everyone have a wonderful evening. Thank you again for checking out the videos, and I'll make a couple more videos as we get into Cuba, and then hopefully I'll have new shoes, and they're waiting for me, and I'll have insoles, and then my feet issues can be put to rest for the rest of the trail. So have a good evening. Talk to you folks later.